لقد يسرنا القرآن للذكر فهل من مدكر.
بسم الله الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back to Tajweed Made Easy. This is your brother Abu Muhammad. In the last lesson, we started the relationship between two letters which are next to each other. And we found out that when two letters are next to each other, depending which letters, what characteristics they have and where they come out from, sometimes these two letters, the first letter would merge onto the second letter. Other times, both letters, they have to be pronounced clearly. And we said that the relationship between two letters is of three different cases. Number one, al-mutamathilan. Number two, al-mutajanisan. Number three, al-mutaqariban. We did the first two situations, the first two cases last week. In today's lesson, we're going to look at the last case of the relationship between two letters which are next to each other, which is al-mutaqariban. We'll find out its definition. We'll find out how to apply this rule, some of the mistakes that people make when applying this rule, and an exception to this rule. So we have here al-mutaqariban. Al-mutaqariban just means two letters which are next to each other. These two letters, their sifat and their characteristics, they share similar sifat. Sifat just means their characteristic point. The sifat and the articulation points, sifat and articulation points, they're very similar to each other. Or the sifat is similar, but the articulation point is different, or the articulation point is different, but share similar sifat. So what's the rule on this? There are four different rules. Number one, Lam as-sakina when it meets a ra. So when lam has a sukun, if it meets a ra, what's the rule on this? This is al-idgham. Lam and ra, they share similar articulation points. They both come from the tongue, but they have different characteristics. When lam and sakina it meets a ra, the rule is to merge them, al-idgham. For example, we have the word وَقُلْ رَبِّي. وَقُلْ رَبِّي. We don't pronounce it as وَقُلْ رَبِّي. So the lam would have merged onto the ra. Okay, so imagine ra, lam and ra. So lam would have merged onto the ra. So it's not pronounced. So وَقُلْ رَبِّي. We say وَقُلْ رَبِّي. وَقُلْ رَبِّي. And not وَقُلْ رَبِّي. Or بَلْ رَفَعَهُ اللَّهُ. بَلْ رَفَعَهُ اللَّهُ. Because of the lam. Lam sakina, it meets a ra. What we're going to do is merge the lam onto the ra. So instead of saying بَلْ رفعه الله, we say بر رفعه الله. بر رفعه الله. So the rule is to do idgham. The second situation, which is lam al-ta'rif, the lam that you make something specific, the al, when it meets the 14 letters of the sun letters. We mentioned from the lam sakina rules that there are 28 letters in the Arabic language, and 14 of them, the Arab never used to pronounce it when it meets lam al-sakina. And the other 14, the Arabs used to pronounce it. For example, sin. When lam meets a sin is from the letters of the sun, so the sun letters. So lam al-ta'rif, when al meets a letter that starts with the sin. Sa'a means hour. So al-sa'a, the hour, the lam al-sakina will merge onto the sin. So this will be as-sa'a instead of saying al-sa'a. And ash-shams or wal, wow here. So we have here the word al-shams, the sun. How would we pronounce it? Pronounce it as ash-shams. So wash-shams. The rule here is to make idgham. The third situation, which is when qaf, as-sakina, qaf with a sukun, it meets a kaf. There's only one place in the Quran, alam nakhluqkum, alam nakhluqkum. This word here, when the qaf meets qaf as-sakina, it meets a kaf, there's two different ways of pronouncing it. Number one, which is the rule of idgham, so merge the qaf onto the kaf. So this will be alam nakhluqkum. Instead of saying nakhluqkum, nakhluqkum. Or we can pronounce it as giving the qaf its characteristic of heaviness without pronouncing the qaf and go straight to the kaf. Like alam nakhluqkum, nakhluqkum. That way, or merge them. Because qaf and kaf, they share similar articulation point, which is back of the tongue, but they have different characteristics. So here, alam nakhluqkum. This is the only place in the Quran. The last situation, which is al-idgham. Al-idgham just means merging. So nun sakina, if it meets the letters of al-idgham, then this is considered as al-mutaqariban. So for example, the word min wali. Min wali. The nun sakina, if it meets a waw, we're going to merge it. Min wali. Min wali. Yeah? Or yakun lahu bi yakul lahu. Yakul lahu. Exception to this rule, okay, is the word man raq. Waqila man raq. Here the Prophet ﷺ, the narration says that the Prophet ﷺ did a sect in Hafs and Asim Hafs and Asim, our mode of recitation that we're learning, the Prophet ﷺ, he stopped here. He did not merge the noon and ra's from the letters of idgham, but on this word only, the Prophet ﷺ did not merge them. So he did a sakt. Sakt just means to stop with the same breath to continue. So we stop with, and then with the same breath we continue. So وَقِيلَ مَنْ رَاقَ وَقِيلَ مَنْ رَاقَ مَنْ رَاقَ. So here, these are the rules of al-mutaqariban, the 4 different cases of al-mutaqariban. In the next lesson, we're going to start a new topic, which is how to start a recitation of the Quran, which ayats, from which place in the Quran can we start, and which places we cannot start, and the reasons to that, inshallah. Until then, jazakumullah khairan, wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.